Hi everyone, it's Linda Esposito from Be Clear with Bronchiectasis. And in this video, we are going to talk about actually a couple of things. One is water, because this is water in this wine glass. And another one is reflux. So where to begin? I have other videos on water, and they're in the playlist called the Eating and Drinking playlist. So do check them out because we're just touching on it, and I've gotten into more detail before. But there's good reason to want to sterilize our water. Many of us drink water, either we drink bottled water, we drink water from a life straw pitcher, which filters it, or a UV water bottle. So many of us are drinking water that where it's been purified or sterilized, and a lot of the bacteria has been killed. Why is this? Why are we doing that? If our concern is our lungs, why are we worried about water that's going into our stomach? Well, because it could be reflux. So even when we don't feel reflux, we have silent reflux, it can come up high enough where it can be aspirated into the lungs. So that is why many of us who with bronchiectasis, and certainly people who've had infections like NTM, like a MAC infection or Pseudomonas, might opt for drinking sterile water. However, at a professional conference, usually doctors don't mention that as much as they will mention other precautions, such as not going in a hot tub, not swimming in an indoor pool, and being careful with showering, because there's a little bit of research behind those issues, and they're really not going to recommend something where there is no research. However, as I said, I have heard specialists say to drink, spring water. So it's not just the water, it's also the ice cubes. I want to remind people of that. Some of us are drinking pure sterilized water and are using regular ice cubes, or going to a restaurant where they have ice cubes and using their ice cubes. You might want to think twice about that. If that is something that you're concerned about, and you've discussed it with your medical team, and you feel like that's not something you need to worry about, then this is not an issue. But you do want to make sure that you're not using a Brita filter, because per Dr. Joseph Falkenham, who is a microbiologist who specializes in NTM, he does not like carbon filters. He says bacteria will grow on them. And that's also true for refrigerator filters. So be mindful of that. Sometimes we're doing one thing, we're just totally oblivious to this other thing, like the built-in filter in the refrigerator. And the issue is that certain bacteria create biofilms. That's like a sticky substance that just lines the inside of pipes. You might not even see it, but it's there. Even in a water cooler, for example, some people have in-home water coolers. There could easily be this biofilm. Now, if you're at a doctor's office, you need to take a pill. What out? There's a water cooler. You need a glass of water. You have to decide at the time what you're going to do. But this is a discussion to have with your medical team, and for each of us to decide on our own what we're able and willing to do. But the reason why this water is in a wine glass is because I don't have any wine in the house right now. Because truthfully, I do like a glass of wine with my meal, especially on a Sunday. Today is a Sunday. I like to, in the afternoon, have a glass of wine, maybe a little dish of pasta, and it's just my favorite thing in the whole world. I don't deny myself, but I find not having the wine in the house is best, because my husband really doesn't drink much, and then that wine is there the next day and the day after. So that's how I do it. After recording these videos, maybe I'm going to go out and get some wine, because I certainly seem to be thinking about it. One of the best discussions on drinking wine was by Dr. Colin Swenson, and from I want to say, I keep on saying Tulane, but I think he's from Atlanta. Let's just say from Atlanta. And Dr. Wendy Drummond, who I think she's in Washington State now. Anyhow, Dr. Swenson is a pulmonologist. Dr. Drummond is an infectious disease doctor. And they're just, I have a lot of simpatico. They're just very good together. They're kind of lighthearted and laughing and just kind of working off one another. And you might think, really, Linda, bronchiectasis and NTM, and they're lighthearted and laughing? Well, that's their chemistry. But they do have, so they have a podcast series they did years ago, and 20 different podcasts. And one of them is, I believe, on reflux. But what they talk about is how a vacation is a perfect storm for reflux. Just think about it. You're running around, you're eating later than you normally would because you're seeing the sights. Maybe, you're having wine with your meal. Maybe your bed isn't elevated, it's flat because it's hard to elevate it. Not impossible, but hard to elevate a bed on vacation. So it's a perfect storm. And so one thing that they recommend in a joking sort of way is day drinking or drinking earlier. In other words, if you know you want that glass of wine, can you have a happy hour at 5 o'clock instead of a glass of wine at 8 o'clock? So that's something to keep in mind, because the wine can certainly cause reflux. Even though you might not have it, it might be silent. It can relax your lower esophageal sphincter and cause reflux. But, again, as I say over and over, hear it be clear, it's about you. You're in the driver's seat. It's up to you to decide what procedures you want to put in place and how you want to lead your life. And it's a discussion to have with your medical team, because you might want to be able to go away on vacation and just relax. Maybe you're traveling with other people, you're going out to dinner. You don't want to necessarily be sitting there drinking grape juice while everyone else is having a nice glass of wine with their meal. So maybe it's about having that one glass or that smaller glass when others refill their cups. Something to think about, food for thought, or should I say wine for thought. Anyhow, Linda Esposito from Be Clear signing off. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I try to produce a new video each week, and I even do a short. So I have shorts and I have videos. So it's ongoing. It's a big commitment on my part. This isn't something I'm paid for, but if you watch my videos, that time you put in is noticed by YouTube, and at some point in the future, I can become monetized. And I think I said like this video. Take care and be well. Bye-bye.